Hi guys, welcome to the video about the system design interviews. Today I'm going to introduce a proven four-step approach to help you ace your upcoming interviews or just for you to get more familiar about what is system design interviews. And so think about, have you ever felt lost in a system design interview, or is it the first time you hear about that, or it's you just talk to the recruiter, everything goes well, and then you receive the invitation for a system design interview, but you don't have much clue about it, and you're unsure where to start or how to structure your thoughts. But don't worry, the next 15 minutes also I'll walk you through a proven structured approach that has helped countless candidates land offers, even top-tier companies like Google, Meta, and Amazon. So no matter the company or role, the approach ensures you come across as organized, confident, and technically strong, helping interviewers to fairly assess your skills in a structured and collaborative way. And this isn't just a theory. The four-step framework has helped all my students succeed, and now I'm sharing it with you. So hopefully you can practice and ace your interviews. And please note the examples we are using here in the video are deliberately kept at high level and simple to make it easier for you to build the framework in your mind. So when you need it, especially at the start of a system design interview, it will switch on automatically, like muscle memory. So believe me, it is crucial when you're in a real high pressure interview scenario. I'll also follow up with deep dives into real world examples for each step, go to really deep, really technical, challenging system design scenarios. So stay tuned. That is going to coming up. And so first, why do we need a structured approach? I think first thing first, time is limited. In a typical interview scenario, it's either 45 to 60 minutes. There will be like say sections for introduction. There will be a probability there are late joiners. We are waiting for a second interviewer to join, or there will be network issues. And also there will be a proportion of time left for you towards the end of the interview for questions you may have. So in theory or in practice, you will only have about 35 to 50 minutes for the actual design session. And you simply cannot afford to ramble or go back and forth. And the second part, interviewers evaluate more than just the technical skills. If you think you are just, hey, I master all this about the load balancing, scalability, or reliability, I know CAP or CAP theorem by heart, is not enough for you to get the result you want. So let's talk about the percentage. It's 60 to 70% of the interviews focus on the technical depths, like what I described, load balancing, caching strategies, event streaming, database choice, SQL, NoSQL, extracting, partition, whatever it is. But the rest is equally important, depending on the role you are applying for and also the company culture, especially on the engineering culture. The collaboration between product design, data analytics. So the first thing is also about like problem solving. Can you identify the core problems and trade-off? So that's why you will see in the first step, you need to establish the scope of the problem. And the second part is always about communication. Can you explain clearly about your thought process? Can you present the idea in a structured way? And next, feedback handling. So during your design, inevitably, the interviewer will have like follow-up questions, ask for further collaboration, or challenge your thought, or challenge your design. How can you like refine your design when challenged, or provide more reasoning, like stick to your original plan? I think that's a skill you need to master. Last one is about the collaboration. And in fact, most of the system design interviews, the interviewer will start by, hey, let's work collaboratively on this problem. So you need to treat the interviewer as your teammate who is there to provide additional information or a suggestion to validate your thoughts. The structured approach will help you shine in all these areas. And so now you might wondering what is the 4 steps? So let's start one by one. The first one is about problem navigation. So think about it in the real world example. When you get a task, a project, or anything, what would be the first thing you do? You need to like make sure before you jump into like any design and actions, you need to make sure you fully understand what's the problem you're going to solve. So it's about like ask clarifying questions, like what we're building, what are the key functionalities, because some interview like topics are very big, like design Instagram, design Uber, design Ticketmaster. As you can see, the scope is nearly like borderless. It's so many topics we can discuss, even for user management, driver management on Instagram, upload, download, short videos, etc. It's quite broad scope. And also others may be more like detailed, including other details about the campaign management, about like a payment system with clearly defined functionalities for you to focus on. But either way, you should clarify what you should focus on. And then that means the outcome would be like define like both functional and non-functional requirements. So functional is like, hey, for example, in Instagram case, what functions do we need to support? Do we support like upload, following, comment, like? You need to drill down the scope into what is manageable within the 35 to 50 minutes time frame. And also like for how many users that will help you to define the scope for the non-functional part about like performance, availability, reliability. So in this part, the important thing or the outcome would be first, definitely write down the requirement and later on refer back throughout the interview to make sure you're always aligned, you're always focused on the problem to solve. And also in this part, most important thing is align with the interviewer. You can make assumptions, you can propose different options, but make sure you always validate with them or ask directly if you miss anything. So important thing, after this step, you are clear about like what problem to solve and at what scale you need to solve the problem. And then second part, after identifying what you need to build, you need to propose like a high level design to further evaluate and validate like your thoughts, how you are going to solve this problem before going too deep into any technical details or scalability or bottleneck challenges. You need to define the component, the service first that will meet the functional requirements. So this step is about high-level design. You need to identify like key services, components you are going to use. You can have like a database, data storage, could be database, could be cache, could be like a different type of like storage, like object storage, even like block file system or traditional SQL or new NoSQL database, data storage. And then, yeah, walk through like the data flow because sometimes it's not always start with like with the user, with the UI. It could be triggered by service, triggered by scheduling job. Just make sure you follow the data flow from end to end and to validate like the design will meet the functional requirements. So two things about here. It's about API endpoint and then like data modeling. So in some cases, it's mandatory. In some cases, it's optional. I think it's worth discussing with the interviewer if you need to lay out those or how much time you would spend on this. Like we really need like detailed like API request response or detailed data modeling, or like at some high level would be doing all right. For example, like get V1 users, you return like response would be a list of users, like count users, and you have like pagination information, and that should be enough, or like should go deeper. Definitely align that with your interviewer, and so is for data modeling as well. But the common way is like at least you can talk about that, list something similar, like maybe just an API point, maybe just some parameters about like ID or something, email, something simple that would work. If the in the real scenario, if the interviewer want to dig deeper, I think they would definitely prompt you to do so. So get prepared with everything. Um, I think that's the most important part to get off this. Data modeling is the same. For example, design user table or information relevant to a user. You might have like a user ID, email, etc. Be prepared to list out all these. And then, yeah, walk through example. We have covered that just to make sure it covers all the functional requirement. Maybe explain some high-level design trade-off, like using SQL or NoSQL, what the reason behind. Do you need the transaction guarantee, or do you need like a high write throughput and make sure that horizontally scalable by default? And also, if you need wide column or you think key value might be the best choice, explain your thoughts. What is the trade-off between like scalability or simplicity, for example? And for this step, the outcome would be like be well organized. That covers components, API, and data model. So in theory, with all these components, we don't think about like how it works internally, about scalability, reliability. It should be working. In a typical case, like a school project or a couple of hundred users, it should be confidently to working efficiently. And of course, in design interviews, it doesn't stop there. So that's why you need like the third step. That's the design deep dive. So this is literally about the time to talk about like scalability, availability, and performance. Always think about a scale. So when you have like in the high system design, don't worry too much about the scales, but I think about like a smaller scale, just to focus on the functionality. At this stage, maybe one good approach would be like think about 10 times or even 100 times more users. What would you do to support that? What's the bottleneck? What would be the trade-off? What would be design considerations? How to improve performance, reduce latency, etc. And for example, scalabilities, but that's where you shy with all your technical knowledges about different strategies, focus on the trade-off. Whatever the decision you made, just explicitly explain what you have in your mind. You need to like say there's no stupid answers, even from like monolithic to like microservice, or like from single server for vertical scalability only compared with like horizontal scalability. That's about the cost, operational overhead, etc. Whatever you have considered, speak it out loud to let the interviewer know like you have evaluated different options and then you choose this one because of A, B, or C. So the typical ones about like stateless service with horizontal scaling, you might need to mention how to manage caching, how to manage authentication, authorization, etc. And then how you use distributed caching or just the caching, like Redis, like CDN, if you think about it, to improve the performance and user experience. And in case of like SQL database, you try to talk about like partitioning replication, and also like date replication, definitely one of the good approach to improve uh, reliability and availability at the same time. And then performance considerations about like rate limiting, load balancing, async process with Kafka like event streaming or message queues, like to separate concerns, you can scale up separately. And also one of the important topic is always about like eventual consistency and strong consistency. So the outcome for this one is definitely a scalable and resilient architecture, which meets real world demands. And so at this stage, you might think, okay, I've done a good job. Maybe let's stop here. Um, but after 35 minutes discussion about like your system, especially in the deep dive, you might be like really focusing on each component, how it works. The last step is definitely take take this as a last opportunity, do a final walkthrough, and think about the future. So in the final walkthrough, just spend a minute or so going through the system again, explain this is the system we designed. Here is how it meets the functional and non-functional requirements at high level and abstraction. And then you can talk about like, given the time constraints, we haven't considered this or don't have time to discuss about that. That's also like the few common areas like compliance, about security, um, about like different like multi-language, different regions, etc. That depends on the use case, but it's definitely worth mentioning what else can be improved or considered in the design. Just based on the time constraints, you wouldn't have time to cover all those. And also, then when you actually finish about the design part, it's normally there will be 5 to 10 minutes for you to ask questions. I only want to point out one thing. Don't use this time to ask like, hey, how did I do in the system design? Use this time like smartly. Always ask relevant about the role, about the team, or about the company. That shows like about like your long-term and strategic thinking beyond just this interview. Like, what's the biggest challenges the team is facing? What technologies are the team using, or kind of engineering culture, business goals for this year and beyond? So that's it. Simple and short, the 4 steps. Um, as always, the clear structure is the first step, but practice is the key. You So after watching this, I think you get like always start the 4-step way or 4-step framework. Always start with problem navigation to identify functional and non-functional requirement. The second part, do high-level design, further align your design with interviewer to make sure like you meet all the requirements, and then do a deep dive into different component or service, doing these different trade-offs. This is the part like where you shine most with your technical skills. And last, well, you need a strong finish. Do a quick summary about the design, how did it solve the problem, and then ask bigger questions and not just focus on this system design interviews. So what you can do next is definitely learn key system design concepts about like caching, data partitioning, CAP theorem. I will provide different videos on different topics, and also I will do like deeper dive, like provide like real examples of each of the different steps. So please stay tuned. Another advice would be, yeah, practice with some like real world scenarios using this structured approach. Do dry run or practice with your friend, your buddy, to make sure like you can clearly explain your thoughts during those interviews. Yeah, I think that's pretty much for this video. So thanks very much for watching, and subscribe for upcoming sessions on key technologies, deep dives, and real system design interviews. I will do my best to help you along the way. And also, if you want to book a private session, please do so through the link below. I'm happy to share my experience, tailor my approach to suit your need. So thank you guys. See you next time.